Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore, continuing on Coffee's route, and Mother is finally showing her true colors, which, is kind of like, we knew she was Catherine. I mean, well, didn't know the whole time until, like, recently in this route when they whipped out the Queen, and then you're like, huh, and then they whipped out Catherine's existence, and you're like, okay, wait, you know. But pretty sure with her whipping out her new obsession and trying to kill us and everything, and Adolphe, slow progression. You have things like the curse, and this mysterious Anko is immune, or is immortal, and yeah. So I don't think we can trust Mother anymore. Like, listen, I think I don't want to say her heart's in the right place. The idea she has is in the right place, trying to figure out and stop and break the curse and whatever. I just don't think she's ever going to go about it the right way. She's obsessed with doing it, so I don't think she's going to think about us as human beings. We're going to be lab rats. Which was initially the way she was treating us, writing to Cyan, whatever, and then she was trying to protect us from Cyan, right? Like demonizing him the whole time. Oh my god, he's awful. He's a villain. I'm protecting you. And then like look how the tables have turned now, because now she's like, and like gonna think of us as lab rats, despite the fact that she's been vilifying Cyan the entire time and hating on him because he would only look at us like lab rats, and now she's doing that. And like, it's almost worse coming from Salome, because Cyan never ever acted like he was a decent person. He's like, yeah, no, I'll fucking use you as lab rats. I'll experiment on people, like, whatever. I do what I want, motherfucker, and I give no fucks. He's never denied who he is, okay? He's never tried to be better. Salome is always like, no, I love you and I care about you. I will use you as lab rats. I mean, we saw her snap at the end of one of Eve's routes, so. But in that, at least, I feel like that was setting you up for this, to expect this happening. So, good job. But at least in that, you could have just brushed it off as like, okay, it was a bad ending, so something made her snap. She's acting out of character. But really, that is in her character, deep down underneath, ingrained in who she is. And her, quote unquote, caring about Adolphe and Spacey is very much like not really her. That's a mask. So I think over time she probably has learned to care about them, but is that going to be enough? It's going to be that battle. And like, I kind of like it. Like, I'm not going to lie. I appreciate that, she was always there and you thought she was on your side, and now it's going to turn out like maybe she's not, and maybe you've never been able to trust her, and like, holy shit, because, the bamboozle's real. Like Lucas being Boro, like, oh, he's our love interest, so we'll forgive him. But they also, because again, when you're playing a game and your love interest is trash, you're like, I forgive him, he's trash. Like Cyan, not a great person, but we forgive him because he's beautiful, and whatevs. We're fine being a sandwich dispenser. I'm okay with that. Use me as a lab rat, right? In reality, not a great person, okay? Lucas is a stabby bastard. But the reality of Lucas is the fact that, yeah, he doesn't like relivers, whatever, but he's also being brainwashed. So, like, you can't really hold it against him that he's murdering all these people. Because, like, even if he was going into it, like, initially it was like, oh, wait, so I kill the relivers, they're not even real people, and I bring you their hearts, and then you can save Nadia. Like, okay. He's also being brainwashed to fucking do this. So, like, you can't hold it fully against him. But, like, when it's a side character, like, I absolutely will. You're not one of my love interests. They get a free pass at being trash. You don't, bitch. But I kind of like that. I like the fact that they made her kind of trash in a way. Like, because you totally understand. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not like, oh, what a bitch. You're like, I get it. I get what's driving her and her motivations. And I like the fact that they're gonna, I hope. I mean, what they're doing right now, the way it is at the moment, is she is losing that fight with the person she's been in hiding, taking care of us and trying to protect us from Cyan while vilifying him. Because vilifying him is like, in a way, it's like she's vilifying her old self. She's fighting against the person she was. Like, maybe she realized that for a minute. Now she's descending back into that old obsession, those old habits, that person she always was, the obsession on breaking this curse, and all the crap that she's had to deal with her family and all of that shit. Like, so I kind of hope, almost in a way, that like she doesn't pull it back and go, I'm totally redeemed. You're right. I'm a good person. Because to be fair, she spent way longer being Catherine and wanting to find a curse and being angry and hating the royal family and everything than she ever did caring about Adolphe and Spacey, you know? So like that real person would be the one that is coming to the surface now. That's probably going to win. And like even at the very end she's like, if she has to fight and struggle, but it's like I want there to be a real struggle in her. And I wanted to be like, no, like even if she loses to Catherine, like that would be almost more believable to me than like you know, you get to the end and she's like, you know, I did care about you guys, and you're like, yeah, no, we know, but you were still evil in the end. You know what I mean? Like you kind of don't want her to just magically turn around and be like, all right, I'm one of the good guys now. Everything is perfect, because that's not realistic. Like, and I kind of like the way that they're going, that like, yes, even if she gets to the end and is like, I did care about you. I did. And it's like, yeah, but caring about saving this country and being willing to sacrifice us kind of won out a little more. That's more believable. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, it would kind of hurt a little, but it would be the good kind of hurt. You're like, oh, it hurts, but like, you made her a real person. You know what I mean? With a real flaw that makes you like, I hate it, but I like it, you know? I don't know. Anyway, so good times being backstabbed by somebody we thought we could trust. But fair enough. They did kind of set you up for that Neves ending, that bad one. So anyway, a place unknown. Another voice seeking help could be heard yet again tonight from this country loved by death. This was merely one of them. You piece of junk! In a dimly lit underground chamber stood Lucas with a horrible wound, but instead of being treated, he was being kicked by Capucine. The blood loss was severe enough that Lucas was unable to avoid the kick, taking the blow and falling to the floor. Of all missions to fail, you had to fail my supporters' request. Do you realize what you've done? Do you think... Well, why would Salome shoot at Capucine? I was wondering, like, who would want me? Salome would want me back, but why would Salome go to Capucine to get me back and then attack Lucas? When Lucas was the one... You know what I mean? So who's his supposed supporter that's trying to get me? Interesting. If we get on my supporter's bad side, I'll lose my ability to research, and that means I can't cure Nadia. I truly sorry. The gentle minister was showing his true side, but Lucas was unable to tell the difference as his hazy consciousness was preventing him from thinking straight. You should have been able to handle that mission, but despite how easy it was, you failed. Ugh. He grabbed Lucas's hair, forcing his pale face upward. How strange. You still have a bit of sanity left, even after I gave you the usual dose. Seeing the true color of his eyes, Lucas came to his senses for a moment and saw the minister in charge of his younger sister. A reliver, a hideous demon who had befriended and tricked Nadia. A demon who said he would get rid of the curse and become a doctor to save Nadia. He remembered the smile on his sister's face as she read the letter. She's been in the hospital for a while now, but that was the first time I've seen Nadia's smile with so much hope. A smile I've never seen before. It wasn't her usual happy smile when she saw her brother. He'd seen that one many times in the past, but this one was different. What brought out this new smile was the powerful desire to fight the curse, which was catalyzed by Spacey. They, on the other hand, spent their lives trying to extend their longevity. He suddenly realized that Capucine was holding a syringe filled with liquid. It seems you require more taming. The moment the strange-colored liquid was pushed out of the needle's tip, Lucas shuddered with fear, remembering the torture he endured in the past. Fight back, Lucas, Jesus. Please forgive me, Minister. I simply cannot follow that order. Spacey is my first love and dear friend to Nadia. The command was, I cannot bring a part of her body back to you. If it was God's command, Who gave you permission to express your opinion? Lucas's vision flickered as he was suddenly kicked in the head. No, you should fight. You shouldn't have said that with words. You should fight back. I know it would be hard for him right now because he's like, whatever, but like, you're just gonna get dosed again and... Ooh, who's saying, leave him be, Minister? He's been doing well for the most part. As an assassin, he's undoubtedly the best. Who is it? A voice could be heard from Capucine's chest pocket where he kept his transmitter. It glowed as the power went on. I would guess Simon. But, because we've been introduced to Simon in this route, like, briefly, but... The violence stopped and Lucas weakly looked up at the faint glowing light. Well now, this is quite a treat. We usually only interact through letters, so I'm surprised you contacted me like this. I simply wanted to speak with my old friend for a moment. His mysterious supporter had saved him from death row and allowed him to escape, then gave him a research facility of his very own. Again, I would guess Simon. Did they specifically mention Simon was his supporter, like? I mean, I don't know. Supporter, a mysterious person who allowed Capucine to become minister of the society and provided him with a facility with which to conduct his research. I'm kind of curious. Obviously, with voice acting on, you'd be able to tell, like, is it a woman, i.e. might be Salome? Is it a man, Simon? Like, is it a voice we recognize? I don't know. Capucine responded compliantly to his savior, to whom he had sworn absolute obedience. There's some blood of hers left on his halberd. That should be enough to analyze her genes. Furthermore, he brought back information more valuable than her blood, so you can go easy on him. Capucine was still unsure whether his supporter was male or female. Their voice was too modulated to decipher. Oh! So even we don't know. It'd be like, you can go easy on her. It's like a muffle. Ooh! So we don't know who his supporter is. Fun times! Their way of speech and secretive demeanor made it impossible to determine their age or gender. Capucine went along, all the while thinking of how he could seize the advantage one day. I can't wait to find out who it is. Because I don't think we ever found out in a prior one. Are you referring to the undead monster who can heal any wound immediately? I admit, I find it hard to believe. Now, trust your subordinate's eyes. I have a subordinate of my own who has confirmed such an existence in Coen. Would you not want more information if you knew it to be true? It could pave a path for you to extend the lives of your precious dolls. I see I cannot hide anything from you. The presence beyond the transmitter then focused on Lucas. Unless it's Jean. That would make sense. Now then, why don't we have our dear Lucas redeem himself? Once he's recovered, let us have him fetch the immortal monster protecting her. Of course, it doesn't matter whether he's in one piece. We can forgive poor Lucas once that's complete. Lucas had no clue how that monster was related to the girl he adored, but it was safe to assume that there was some level of trust between them based on the fact that they were together. Perhaps this monster was someone dear to her, just like Adolphe. I I cannot. Lucas, you should just keep your mouth fucking shut, and as soon as you get out, tell everyone. Just tell them. Like, Capucine's evil and he's trying to kidnap you and he's gonna send Boro after you. Don't ask how I know. Lucas refused the command. I cannot betray my student or my sister anymore. I will do anything else. So please. Oh, rebellious, I see. I'm sorry. It seems to be the brainwashing was not thorough enough. I will fix him right away. Capucine sat on Lucas's back with a syringe in hand so he couldn't move. No, please, not that. He struggled in an effort to escape, but he had grown so weak that he was unable to exert his superhuman strength. I feel so bad for him. He's trying so hard. His neck, covered with tiny scars, began to ripple with an unbearable heat and pain. Lucas's consciousness completely faded as the needle came out of his neck. His memory of what happened here would probably disappear once he awakened. You treat him with such roughness. He's an invaluable asset, so you should take better care of him. I plan on taking good care of him until I can kill that despicable Cyan Brophies and his lackey who reported my activities. And now then, what should I do for the time being as we await Lucas's recovery? I take it you do not contact me simply to advise on how I should be training him. I'm glad you ask. I'd like to ask for your help in analyzing the blood Lucas obtained. And can you assemble a few loyal followers whose lives will not be missed? There's a certain risky errand I need them to run. I'm wondering, it sounds like it might be Salome. I'm really curious. You know what I mean? Like, who... Because if it was Simon, I don't think they'd hide it. And Simon's not a big enough character. I feel like it's somebody we know. A child was born into this world. The first thing the infant sensed was the damp, sweet aroma of death. Beyond the beautiful field of black and red flowers, out of sight of the bewildered people carrying the infant in their arms, a single man stood alone and out of sight. As the infant looked at him with innocent eyes, "At long last, we meet again." His voice was filled with countless emotions. He's seriously standing there watching us be born. That's weird, dude. Like a traveler who journeyed thousands of miles to finally find their lost love. I mean, he's Adolphe, and he's been traveling thousands of years, probably. All over the place, all over time and space to try to fix this shit. I feel like that was way more poignant than they meant it. I mean, I think they meant it to be, but, like, you know what I mean? Oh! The web is getting tighter. Oh. My eyes were wet with tears as I opened them. I feel like I just had a nostalgic dream. I dried my tears and tried to recall the details, but I couldn't seem to remember. I got out of bed to get something to drink. It was then I remembered this wasn't either the orphanage or Adolphe's house. At least we get to see Anko's cave that he lives in. That's right. Anko led me here, saying it would be dangerous elsewhere. It was a small but spacious cave, minimally furnished. The dim lighting cast weak shadows against the floor. Hey, you know what this cave is lacking? A cage for my corpse. It's interesting that he has a mirror that's like shattered, like he punched it because he didn't want to look at himself. I can hardly imagine anyone living here. This was a hideout that Anko himself prepared for use while on the surface. Hi, thank you. After that incident with Mother, we somehow managed to escape safely. We couldn't guarantee that Adolphe's place was safe, so we quickly changed our route and headed to his isolated hideout. I can read. I kept telling Anko we couldn't just abandon Adolphe, but Anko stated he already told Adolphe about his hideout in case of emergency. I hoped he could somehow escape and meet us here soon. If not, I'd go and rescue him. Maybe we should find all of our other friends. I think I remember Anko tending to my wounds last night, and I fell asleep on his bed right afterward. I felt embarrassed by how rude it was for me to use his bed. But he was nowhere to be found. I wonder if he's outside. If I recall correctly, the sight from here is beautiful. We were on a large cliff overlooking the great expanse of the ocean. Most people wouldn't dare come near here, since one would need to go through the licorice field to reach the cave. It was the best place for a hideout. The flowers of misfortune swayed in the night wind. Among them was a single shadow. But the shadow wasn't Eve, who I had met in the field in the past. We're getting a CG? He's eating the flowers, isn't he? It's interesting how many Unko CGs we're getting in this. You know what I mean? I feel like we've gotten more Unko CGs than we've had Adolphe CGs total so far. His long white fingertips plucked a licorice noirs without any concern. The shadowy man crushed the flower in his hand, then moved it toward his mouth and swallowed it whole. I watched in stunned silence as he consumed the licorice without succumbing to it. If he were human, he would certainly die at any moment. But this immortal being would not fall victim to the Grim Reaper's scythe. He went on to pluck another flower. He crushed it in his hand and brought it again to his lips. I just love the fact that we're seeing him, eat the flowers. So funny. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was an incomprehensible sight, akin to watching someone swallow broken glass. But despite my fear, well, we know Eve's been a weirdo and has eaten them. Well, the bulbs, anyway. I was completely entranced. I didn't know how much time had passed while I watched him with fascination. Would you like one, dear princess? The flowers that my sworn allies have protected are quite delectable. I finally came to my senses and hurried to Unko. Unko, are you all right eating these licorices? The sight must be a terrifying one to you humans. That's not what I mean. I'm just worried about you. But you know I am immortal. You told me before that you still feel pain. Hearing my somewhat scolding tone, Unko lowered his head in apology. I appreciate your concern, dear princess, but I've come to no harm whatsoever. To be honest, the licorices are my primary source of sustenance while on the surface. I cannot do without them. Sustenance? Anko went on to tell me that they bloomed in Hades too, and that consuming them gave him power since the flowers represented death. And here I thought I'd no longer be surprised by anything Anko did. This, though, okay, makes me concerned. If we cure the soil and get rid of the poison and the toxin or whatever, then I won't be releasing it. The flowers won't have to purify it. And then does that mean Anko won't be able to exist anymore? Because I'm going to guess it's not. Oh, the licorice, they have the power of death, but that's the poison in the land. So, does Anko cease to fucking exist in, we saved everybody except for Anko dies? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't bode well. Is that how this goes? There's an ending for Adolphe. It's tragic Adolphe dies, but we get to be happy with Anko. But, in the happy end, or the happier where we get to be with Adolphe and we save everyone, Anko dies. So, either way you look at it, neither one of them's great. What the fuck? Game's really trying to fucking stab you, isn't it? So, was the story about growing them for your beloved just a lie so that Eve's family would grow them for you? Who knows? I'll leave it to your interpretation, dear princess. Uncle smiled and looked at the wound on my arm. How do you feel? Still hurts a little, but I don't think it'll get any worse since you tended to it right away. Uncle muttered words of relief, but his expression was clouded with gloom. I cannot believe how worthless he is after all. Had he been more careful, you would not be wounded in this way. That man is beyond useless, truly. That man is an Adolphe? I was becoming irritated hearing him blame my foster brother. I don't think anyone could have imagined encountering more than one Boro. Despite that, Adolphe did his very best to protect me. If you keep blaming my foster brother, I'm gonna be really mad at you. Hearing the sharp tone in my voice, Uncle gave an obvious frown of displeasure. Then, allow me to ask this. Do you not think it difficult for me to forgive him when his actions cause harm to the woman most important to me? Most important to you? It's like, are we gonna have to choose between them? Can I choose both? They're the same person. That wasn't fair. He just made it impossible for me to get angry since I was more confused than anything else now. But why, Unco? Ever since we met, why have you been so concerned about someone like me? Unco went quiet for a moment at my question. I mean, I don't think we're going to get the reveal now, but like at some point we're going to get the reveal and then it's all going to make sense why, like, oh, why? It is because you're one of my few partners. Is that really the reason? You believe what Adolphe says, yet you do not believe me. That's not what I mean. Or I do trust you. I feel like I do trust you is the right answer. That's not what I mean. But that's not what I mean. I do trust you. They're both the same in a way, but I'm not sure. I feel like I do trust you is more confirming. That's not what I mean, Where that's not really like straight up being like, I do trust you, stop it. You know what I mean? Okay, good. It's I do trust you. I mean, seems like a better answer for on coffee. No, of course I trust you. It's just that sometimes I'm at a loss when trying to respond to you, Unco. But I know you're always thinking about me and putting me first above all else. Which is why it puzzles me. Being your partner is too simple of a reason. It seemed you didn't fully understand. In a way, I feel as though I've always known you. Well, because he was there when you were born, but also that's only because he traveled through time and space and he was Adolphe before that, so. If I had another foster brother in my life, he'd be someone like you, Unco. And then this is like the game being like, oh, maybe they're brothers. I doubt that. Come on. He wouldn't be so. No. I'm not going to fall for that. You're not going to con me into believing that. Because why would he be so. Why would it hurt him so much the way Salome looked at him then? You know what I mean? That wouldn't bother him so much unless he was Adolphe. You know what I mean? Because otherwise he has no connection to her. So it wouldn't bother him. He'd be like, disappointed, as in, like, I'm disappointed the way everyone looks at me. Frustrated, disgusted maybe, but not being so sad and hurt by it. He was sad and hurt by it, and that's an Adolphe thing, so come on. Your kindness toward me doesn't feel like we're just partners. Or am I mistaken? No. Another CG. Oh! Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my god, look at me. Indeed, what you're saying is absolutely correct. I've been alive for so long that it feels like an eternity. And for that eternity, for you to be born in this field of lycorises. This field of lycorises? Which meant... So, when I was born... Yes, I was watching from afar. When you were first born, I heard you crying. I felt anxious about those who took you away in their arms. You wanted so badly to see me then. His voice was filled with countless emotions. Somehow I felt as though I had heard it somewhere before. Adolphe? And, like, I'm sorry, but, like, because, okay, if you took a step back and they were two totally separate people and whatever, him watching you be born, I'm like, that's kind of fucking weird and everything about that's odd. Him being Adolphe is like, okay, him finding you dead in the very beginning triggers him to whatever, blah, 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 becomes Anko, goes back, fixes thing, watches you, whatever. That is just like, you're like, I mean, it's a little weird that you watched me be born, but like, I knew you before you became you and traveled back in time and you did all this to try to figure out this curse to save the world. Like, everything is done, you're like, stop it. That's so, like, I don't think any love interest ever in any game has done this much for us. I'm just saying. Okay, like, oh my god. You might have to be tied with Noratsune for, like, MVP of love interests. Even if Cyan's my favorite, that doesn't make you not the queen here. Let's be fair. Like, Noratsune was not, like, my favorite love interest because he is an adorable little baby face, and you know those aren't my type, like Mathis. Love Mathis, not my type, so least favorite love interest. Just on a personal, me, don't like the baby-faced ones. It's just not my thing. Like, I can't. But doesn't mean I don't enjoy Mathis's route and, like, everything, and, like, him as a character. You know what I mean? But, like, Noratsune and Birashana was like, you're, like, fucking perfect! Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, it's not really a spoiler. There's a little bit. It's like the freaking, like, you just roll up and you're like, fuck you, I'm gonna kick your ass. And then you fall in love with me and I'm like, by the way, I'm a girl. I don't give a fuck. He was basically, like, ready to fucking marry you when he thought you were a dude. He gave no fucks whatsoever when you were like, actually, I'm a girl. He wasn't like, oh, thank God. Or I suspect he was like, I don't care. Queen. Fucking queen. Like, are you kidding me? That's, like, the best fucking, like, because they always do it in those games where you're like, I'm pretending to be a boy. They always suspect, or then they figure it out, or, like, whatever. They get close to you, and then you're a girl, and then all of a sudden their feelings come out. No, Noratsune was ready to, like, fucking throw down, like, literally fight you, then fuck you, and then you're like, I'm a girl! You're like, in case you're gay, I just want you to know I'm a girl. He's like, I don't give no fucks. Don't care. Man, woman, I don't give a cow. I don't care. I'm okay, maybe you might care if you're a cow. But you know what I mean? He's like, don't care. Here for you. Give a shit what you... Like, perfect. Holy shit. Like, perfect. Like, seriously. Like, you know, and Tomomori is my favorite, and then obviously, because Jun Fukuyama is so, like, automatic win there. But, like, Anko, like, Cyan's still my favorite, because I love that salty bitch. But, like, Anko really is pulling all the stuff. Like, Jesus Christ, you've literally bent time and space, going back and done all, like, stop it. It's a little, there's a part of me that wants to be like, is this a little obsessive and kind of and a little I don't actually care. I'm here for it, and I'm like, winning. Don't do that shit in real life, though. Go back in time and, like, well, I mean, maybe go back in time and try to better the world so I'm not cursed. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, how many times has any man ever gone back in time for you to, like, fix everything and right all the wrongs so that you don't have to live a cursed life? Probably never, so I was just throwing it out there. Like, Jesus. He's got to have the MVP crown. Doesn't mean I don't love Adolphe still, too. Because we know that Adolphe is going to become this person, but he can't yet, so. And all of the things that would have made Adolphe turn into Anko are no longer there. Those factors no longer exist, so Adolphe can't become Anko now, so. So, Anko, you can be as pissed at Adolphe as you want, but he can never become you, and you shouldn't be mad at him for existing, because the person he was is the reason why you exist. You know? Sometimes you don't want to admit that, though. Anyway. Somehow, I felt as though I had heard it somewhere before. Again, Adolphe. To be honest, I wanted to meet you much sooner. I wanted to extend my hand to you, to save you from your suffering. But I was unable to move until that night, when the restrictions were finally lifted. For all those years, I was unable to do anything for you. Truly sorry that I could not help. I wanted to tell him not to apologize, but Uncle stopped me with a shaking voice. That's actually kind of adorable that, like, he wanted to do, like, and that kind of answers, in a way, the question of, well, like, if you were hearing all the time, why didn't you go back and stop and change things earlier? Because he couldn't. There were rules. Just like he gets things he's saying redacted. So there's some kind of weird rules going on to stop him from completely changing everything and giving us all the answers, which is a nice little added bonus in this to make it like a little, easier for the game to like play out and more difficult than here are all the answers, because otherwise you'd be like, well, why didn't you just tell us all the answers? Reasons? We don't know what those are, but we know that there are some kind of rules and things preventing him from going back sooner, stopping things and changing things sooner, and from saying and giving us certain answers. So, cool. Did I read that? I wanted to tell him not to apologize, but Uncle stopped me with a shaking voice. In the endless hours of waiting for you, I lived in despair. But when you first spoke to me, all the pain in my heart vanished in an instant. He leaned his cheek against me. Dear Spacey, thank you for meeting me again. Thank you for being born into this world. Thank you for not giving up on life. Thank you so very much. His honest voice shook with tears. It's like so beautiful. What? You're not going to let me have both of them, are you? No one has ever said that to me besides family. Besides Adolphe? Tears began to roll down my cheeks. I should be thanking you, Unco. I felt so grateful that you were the one who came to me. Unco dried my tears, seemingly embarrassed for being overcome by his emotions. Suddenly, something fell to the ground from his robe. Adolphe's knife. I know what they're gonna do. They're going to wrap this up as, oh my god, you found Adolphe's dagger! Oh wow, I lost it in the field, and he's gonna be like, yeah. Not, I've had this ever since. Because again, Anko would have had it because he probably would have taken it when he was Adolphe, when we died, whatever, and he would have had it since then. So, like, this is not Adolphe's dagger that we tried to kill I mean, it is, but it's not the one that we think we lost. It's the one he's always had. Like, but she's not going to realize that, but this was the game being like, did you? Same person. Oh, son of a bitch. Adolphe's dagger. Uncle, why did you have that? You've been carrying it all this time since the night I dropped it, Uncle? Yes, but I completely forgot about returning it to him. I think he's like, yeah, sure. Well, I can return it to Adolphe for... No, I'll return it to him later. Why? After holding on to it for some time, I began observing the blade out of curiosity, and it was then I accidentally dropped it on some rocks, chipping the blade. Huh? I wish to return it to him after I've repaired it. Until then, can you please keep this a secret, dear princess? Yeah, I love that. Come the fuck on. Adolphe and Anko kind of hate each other, and Unco's like, I mean, I dropped it, so there's a chip on the blade, so, like, just don't tell him. I'll give it to him when I fixed it. I want to fix it first, because, like, it was my mistake, and, like, don't tell him, though. Because it's not the one I lost in the field. And you know what's going to happen? We're going to end up finding the one that we left in the field, or Adolphe's going to be like, oh, yeah, no, I found it in the field, and we're going to be like, huh. Because this is not the one that we lost in the field. He's always had it, and he's just covering his ass right now. Because he doesn't want us to know. Oh my fucking god. Theory confirmed. There's no fucking way. Okay, and theory was confirmed a while ago. There's really no, but every single time as we get deeper, there's no motherfucking way you can convince me otherwise. There is no way you can turn this around and say that they're not the same person at this point. You can't fucking do it. You can't. You can't fucking do it. Sold. I was sold on it a while ago, but this is like super sold, okay? Sure, but please get it fixed soon and return it to him, okay? Why, of course. I appreciate your cooperation, dear princess. A few hours later, morning arrived and Adolphe was able to join us, safe and sound. Thank God he escaped. It seemed that Mother restrained him after they met in the alley. He happened to be found by Cyan and Mathis, who were on the run. They were able to break his chains and promised to meet again later. The first thing Adolphe did was come to me with bloodshot eyes to make sure I was safe. Finally here, you useless bag of meat. See this? And like the way he talks to him, like, there is no way. You know what I mean? Like his story about, oh, I dropped it, but I want to repair it before I give it back to him. The way he talks to Adolphe, you know that's bullshit. So there's no fucking... He's making it up to cover his ass! Oh my god, I love it. The only reason she's safe is because the guardian of the Lycoris risked his life to protect her while you were having a nap. You should also thank Cyan Brophies and Mathis Claude for playing a significant role in your safe return. Shut up! You don't have to tell me that! Adolphe, something was different about him. He wouldn't have immediately glared at Onko and taken him up on the fight. He would have immediately glared at Onko and taken him up on the fight. Perhaps something happened between him and Mother. Just as I was about to ask, a sudden sound prompted Adolphe to take out his transmitter. Adolphe? Where the hell are you? Hugo? What's so urgent? And did something happen to Eve? Eve is safe, but we got an even bigger situation on our hands. And it's no laughing matter. I got no idea where this damn country's headed now. And calm down. Explain to me what happened. Unco and I went next to Adolphe to hear what was going on, like, slided on both sides. Hugo, who was unaware that Unco and I were listening, took a deep breath and continued. Our client, Cyan Brophies, was killed by Boro. What the fuck? Excuse me? I'm gonna need someone to revive him. He's got a backup. Bring him fucking back. No. Bad game. Bad Lucas. What have I told you? Stop killing Cyan. Son of a bitch, Lucas. Do I have to... Somebody get the rolled up newspaper. I'm gonna beat him in the nose and he's gonna have to sit in the fucking corner and think about what he's fucking done. No, bad Lucas. I know he's being brainwashed, but Jesus Christ, we're gonna have to beat it out of him. Is that wrong to beat the brainwashing out of him? I kind of feel like abusing the abuse out of him is probably not the right thing to do, but like, seriously, Luke, there is a cage for a reason, and Lucas, you're gonna have to sit in there because I don't trust you. You have to be restrained for your own good and for science. Huh? Can't be. I thought he and Mathis were able to escape from Boro last night. But also, he's got a backup. The Watchman of Death listened, his eyes giving off an eerie glow. Perhaps it was because a new soul was about to enter Hades, or perhaps, we know Cyan's got a backup. There's no way. The worst part is, though, he's got a backup, but he won't remember anything unless he backed himself up before he came out here, you know? Because the person who developed Reliver technology had died. All they have to do is call up Daha and be like, Cyan died? And he'd be like, don't worry, I got it. He's got a backup! It was only the beginning of the tragedy that would befall this country. But, okay, listen. In at least the other ones, Lucas destroyed the machines and everything like that so Cyan couldn't be revived. But there's no reason in this one, like, they killed Cyan and it's like, still, it's like, what the fuck? Well, but he's got a backup, though, so never mind. But now they're acting like, oh my god, he's got a backup. Are we going to pretend that we don't know about this? Cyan would never have left without a backup. So, like, why? What's right and what is wrong? I don't know anymore. Someone help. I don't know who that was. Interesting. Oh. Hey, stop. Oh. Who's coming in here? Stay away from my Rosalie. Oh. Capucine's fuck. Oh. What a nuisance. Can't you even thank me and our supporter for providing you with all this equipment? Okay, so that's how Jean got his equipment. That makes sense. Okay, fine. If you don't want her to be harmed, do as I say and hand over your research data on constructing false memories. Like I don't know, Jean and Cap, now I can't get their voices right. I don't remember Jean's voice. Like I'd let you have it. Do you have any idea how long it took me to finally reconstruct Rosalie's memory? I've already shared the results of my experiments with you. What more do you need? It is very simple. They're very similar. And now that your memory research is nearing completion, our supporter has decided that you're no longer needed. We're gonna find Jean dead. How are we gonna turn this one around and get like a decent ending? Oh my god. What the hell? You two planned on using me from the very beginning? Now, my loyal followers, bring back the capsule containing his lover to our base of operations. Though she is but a corpse waiting to rot, she's still a lady. Please treat her with care. Yeah! Stop! Don't touch Rosalie with those filthy hands! I feel bad for Jean. I really do. Look, Jamil is not like Camille, no, but like Jean, but like. Also, I'm gonna feel bad for anybody that Capucine targets because he's literal trash. Any more from you, and your dear lover will be chopped up into bits. If you don't want that, be quiet and cooperate. A simpleton who trifles with ordinary genes has no say. Damn it! I know Jean's voice should have been more super than Capucine, and like whatever. But now we're in chapter 4 already. Oh my god, guys! I don't. Holy shit! But okay. Here's the thing. Cyan has a backup. How? Cyan has a backup. Why aren't they like? Why is nobody contacting and everybody's acting like he's? You know, like unless the supporter is Dahood and he deleted Cyan's backup. The only thing, because like they'd have to have deleted his backup for him to actually be dead. You know damn well he wouldn't leave without a backup stored away. Or like a backup of a backup of a back. There's like 6 backups somewhere. He didn't just have one. He's not stupid. Anyway, this is the story of a foolish queen who died in a field of lycrases. Though foolish, she was certainly brave. She fought the god whom everyone feared and raged against his wrongdoings. However, the god recognized her as an equal, leading to an alliance between them to face the death that devoured the country. Yeah, Salome and Cyan. Now we're Adolphe, okay. I'm getting crazy, though. We're gonna need to get some answers now. So cold. So scared. So much pain. I did my best to struggle, but my body didn't move how I wanted. I tried to bring air into my lungs, but took a deep breath of water instead. Yes, I'm gonna be pulled into these waters and suffer a horrible, lonely death. I was gonna die without anyone knowing what happened. No. I don't want to die yet. Even if I'm not needed. I don't want to die alone. No. Possible. When was this happening? I want to be warm. I want someone to see me die in peace. Oh my. Playing in the water out here. Boys certainly will be boys, weren't they? Won't they? Is that Salome, maybe? It must be scary being out here alone. So, why don't I play by your side from now on? What's your name? I'm wondering if this is when Adolphe was little. When they first found Adolphe. You know what I mean? They found him on the beach and they said his parents abandoned him. But I'm wondering if that's not the case. He's dead. After looking down on us for so long, Cyan Brofis is finally dead. It's time for the Revopois family to rule over our Pachellas, is our right. Applause. The man was surrounded by those in his family who had clung to power for years without any change. Yeah, but he's got a backup! Despite being the current king, the man so unknown by many of his subjects outside the castle raised his glass in a toast. We finally did it, father! To think of all the humiliation we endured being forced to abide by the rules of that demon pretending to be a god. But I must ask, will we be able to continue living now that he's dead? Oh, that'll not be an issue. Not only is Cyan completely unnecessary, we'll no longer require a liver technology whatsoever in order to live lives as immortal beings. Isn't that right, good supporter? Is it really true we can become immortal relivers impervious to the curse? Who's the supporter? Why, of course, your majesty. I will take full responsibility to ensure that the royal family is elevated to the status you most certainly deserve. A meeting through a transmitter, The voice's confident proclamation caused a stir in the grand hall. I really would not be surprised if Salome was the supporter because, and she's gonna kill them all, but, you know what I mean? But, if not her, then it's. Because it's not Jean. We know that because we just saw Capucine go take him down. Why would it be Hugo? Could be. Could be. I doubt it's any one of our love interests, okay? So if it's not Salome playing both sides and doing whatever, trying to get what I don't understand though why if she for a while, kind of backed out of being Catherine and wasn't obsessed with figuring out the curse and anything, why she would be supporting Capucine. But if she was originally the founder, because it made it, the person who created the Society of Exorcists, right, that then Capucine killed or whatnot, she could have been that person because she changed her face, remember? Didn't Capucine say that? And she was obviously hiding from something or whatever. So, and she was a reliver or whatnot. So, she could very well have been Catherine, and now she's Salome. But and Capucine doesn't know she's alive. She's secretly supporting him only because he is working with gene manipulation and whatever, and she was obsessed with trying to find the curse, the cure, when Cyan wasn't doing that. And she didn't want to hand over Adolphe and Spacey to Cyan. But why would she be funding Cap? I don't quite get that, but I mean, we already know she's not fully sane and a good person. You know what I mean? She was protecting us from Cyan, but that doesn't mean she was wasn't backfunding Capucine just because he was doing his own shit and it wasn't going to involve us. You know what I mean? The only other person is Dahut that he's got his fingers in all this, in all the little, but again, I don't, that would be a great bamboozle because they would really need to explain in depth and make it believable why he would be funding like Ordy's research, Ordy slash Capucine's research and all of that and all that craziness when, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because we know that, like, obviously, whoever is probably a reliver that's funding Capucine's work. They know Capucine's a reliver. Like, whatever. The Society of Exorcists doesn't know, but, like, that's a front. You know what I mean? So, like, okay, they know the underground shit that he's doing. But I'm still would be confused why, unless Dahood is so much in the, I want my mother to come back and I'm doing my research, but that's why I'm also helping Capucine fund his research and have given Jean stuff because then there's more hands because Cyan won't listen. Like, it's crazy shit like that. Because if it's just a random side character, like, oh, a random supporter and it's supporter A, like, and it's not a character and it's not a person that we've met, it's like, that kind of takes some of the fun out of it. You're like, oh, okay, it's just a random person who worked on Cyan's team or something that we've never met. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, it takes some of the wind out of the sails, you know? But you'd have to give me a really good back reason for why, like, Dahoot would be doing this. To make it believable and make me, like, be like, oh, okay, oh my god, holy shit, yeah, you know? I'm not sure with any of the reasons I can come up with for Dahoot or Salome that it makes sense, but... And I'm like, am I forgetting anyone? Because again, it's not Jean. It wouldn't definitely be Nadia. You know? And like if it's Hugo, Hugo's family has money. Hugo said he stepped away from his family, but we don't know that he's not, you know? But then that, it would be like, but then how do you tie into that? So, okay, you'd have to, you know, but like that's all I can think of. Like, who else could it fucking be that we've met, you know? Anyway. The voice's confident proclamation caused a stir in the grand hall. Very good to hear. To be assisted by the very person we once killed. So then I'm going with Salome. Because that seems like they killed Catherine. Not even Cyan Brophies would have expected this turn of events. That sounds like they're confirming that. As per our contract, I'll allow you back into the royal family. So do your very best. I'm counting on you. You're most kind and generous indeed. However, in order to further assist you, a person we once killed will let you back into the royal family. It's definitely Catherine, so I'm going with the Salome. All right. Interesting. I do feel like she would have more stake to have done, and I feel like it's more believable if it's her. But I would think she has, oh, I'm helping them, blah, 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 because I'm gonna go in and stab all these fuckers! I don't think her hatred of them is fake. I think her playing them is fake. Like, she's playing, well, not her playing them, but like, her acting like she's on their side and wanting to help them. That's fake. She's faking it with them so she can kill them all. That's believable to me. I will need the Lycoris saint to save this country by sacrificing her life. Lycoris? What do the filthy Noirge's flowers have to do with this? I'll go into detail later, but according to the knowledge in this book, she's inherited the genes of the flowers. A holy girl who lives among the commoners of Coen, who's able to absorb the curse that the royal family created. I mean, maybe it's not, because they're still just leaving it a mystery? Instead, they're like, oh, somebody we once killed will let you back into the royal family. Okay, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. It might not be Salome. Okay, I'm just going to read it in a normal voice, because it might not be Salome. Salome, they also supposedly killed Salome's husband and son. But remember, the son's name was 4 letters? But if her son is Hugo, then they could be talking about Hugo, and this could be Hugo. Because, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Salome's got more of a stake to wanting to get in their good graces and do this, and it's more believable that she's faking it with them, she wants me, blah, 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 whatever, than and would be saying, I need Spacey because of blah, blah, like whatever, then it would be Hugo doing it. You know what I mean? Then I'd be like, that seems fucking weird. But it's a possibility if Hugo is her secret son that we didn't know about. I still think it's more believable at the moment with the thought process of like how they could be tied and why they're doing this, that it'd be Salome, to be fair, because she'd be playing them. But also still wants me, blah, 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 because she wants to, like, fuck the royal family over because she hates them, but still wants to cure the curse, and now she knows that you know what I mean? Like, I still feel like that's the most believable. But anyway, I'm just going to read, I don't know who it is, so we won't do Salome's voice, because we aren't sure. So, anyway. A holy girl who lives among the commoners of Coen, who's able to absorb the curse that the royal family created. Upon hearing the supporters' words, every single person in the hall suddenly went pale. How do you know that? Have you forgotten why I was assassinated by your majesty? Please don't worry. Any grudges that could have existed died with my original body. My only desire now is to restore your right to rule, which was stolen by Cyan Brothys, and for me to rejoin the royal family. In order to do so, I'd like permission for the saint to be our sacrifice. With her sacrifice and the blood of that immortal monster, it definitely sounds like it's something that would be... You'll be able to take on an eternal form. Your reign will surpass even that of a god. I do feel like it's Salome. Many years have passed since then. I've trudged through the mire and subsisted on little else, all so I could reach this day. Are they going to show her? Like she's underground? Oh my god, and we're going to Hugo. Are you going to try to tell me it was Hugo? I threw that out there, but... Unless... Okay. Even though we were told that Cyan was killed, we didn't exactly see it happen ourselves. And that night, after failing to capture Boros, Cyan separated from Eve and made a run for it, carrying the Claude family heir. He was able to escape that fake Boro and went into hiding before meeting with me, unless they're saying that Cyan's dead and Cyan is hiding and... With the bare minimum treatment to his wounds, we quickly set off to save Cyan. But we couldn't find them anywhere, even after checking all the alleys. Adolphe's place, even Karun. It was then we figured maybe they went to the Claude family mansion since Mathis was with him. And no luck there either. The door to the mansion was open, and sensing that something wasn't right, even I went inside, weapons drawn. I think it's interesting after that all of us, oh my god, there's blood everywhere. Then we went to Hugo, and for a hot second I was like, is the supporter actually Hugo? That was actually like, I know I threw it out there that Hugo could be your son and maybe it's him, but like, I was like, that doesn't seem that feasible. Like, I was like, it's an idea, but it still feels more Salome to me. And then they went to Hugo and I was like, oh my god, holy shit. The glamour of the place was gone. The mansion was covered with flesh and blood splattered all over the place. It was then we found Cyan's lab coat and Mathis's knife covered in blood. We could guess what happened here. They left this behind purposefully to make you think they were dead. Even if we didn't want to accept it. We looked for Mathis's butler Jean, but he wasn't around either. He was probably another one of Boro's casualties. Where did all the blood come from, though? And you never found the bodies. Holy shit. This is getting so fucking insane. Oh my god, okay, here's the thing. And maybe that's it too. Like, Cyan's dead. Okay, where's his body? Did anyone see his body? No, without his body, we're not bringing him back because there could be two Cyans out there. Cyan's not really dead. But it sounds perfectly feasible, right? Because the supporter or whoever is like, yeah, no, Cyan's totally fucking dead. Because if it's Salome, right? Like, she hates Cyan, but she hates the royal family more. So, if they made it look like Cyan was dead, he's not really dead, right? She'd be like, oh yeah, no, I had somebody take care of him. Don't worry, he's totally fucking dead and his body's been destroyed. But without the body, you have to bring the body in order for them to create a clone, right? So Dahut, even though Cyan's friend and whatever, you'd be like, I don't have a body, I can't bring Cyan back. So they're like, well, no body, no bringing Cyan back. He's as good as gone forever. When he's actually not fucking dead and it's all part of the ploy. Because otherwise I'm going to be kind of fucking pissed because, like, where the fuck is his body? You can't just. This is. I know it's Dolphy's route, but, like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.